Okay, today we're going to go over how to fulfill a FOIA or a subpoena request using your NG911 digital recording system. Some of the things that we're going to cover are the ability to use the Explore tab, search and retrieve your voice recordings, edit those voice recordings, save and send them, and then eventually burn them to disk. So the first thing I'll have you do is go ahead and log into Viewpoint so that you are ready to generate a search. Normally when you get a subpoena or a FOIA request, you have a date, a time, maybe a radio talk group or a radio frequency that was used for this event, and the date and time kind of references when a 911 call might have came in, or maybe when the call came into dispatch. Maybe it wasn't necessarily an actual 911 emergency call, but most of the time it is. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to put in your time frame using the calendar selection from the Query tab. You can go ahead and generate your search. And once you've selected the date and time, you want to add that up to your search parameters. Now, like I said, you may not know whether or not it's a dispatch position recording that you want or the actual 911 trunk that you want. Depending on what you're recording, it could vary. At this location, we're actually recording the 911 emergency trunks. So I'm going to go ahead and add that up there. And if you do know which radio frequency or talk group you'd like to add to the search parameter, you can go ahead and do so. I'm going to use the law frequency for this, and I'm going to go ahead and generate my search. Once you've generated your search, it pulls you to what's called the message grid. On the message grid, you have a list of all of your completed voice recordings during that time frame. As you and I know, a lot of times you'll have radio transmissions that sometimes correspond to the incident at hand, and some don't correspond to the incident at hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to negate the ones that don't belong there, edit the ones that may have extra information in them that we don't need, and save them all in a nice, neat file so that you can save and send it or burn it to disk. The first thing that I suggest doing is listening to your initial 911 call. Once you've listened to this, you have confirmed that this is the beginning of your incident.
911, do you have an emergency?
Well, it's not really an emergency.
Once you've determined this is the recording that I need, and I know that this incident started at, say, in my case here, 12:47, and the incident lasted until, say, 2:30, so right around this time. What I would do is use the Shift key on my keyboard and highlight all of my voice recordings in this time frame. At this point, what I would do is right-click, and from my right-click menu, use the Set Tags on Selection. At this point, I would get the incident number or the report number, and I would tag the voice recording with that incident number or that report number. Once you hit save, you now have the ability to go ahead and regenerate your search, except this time when you generate your search, we're going to clear out the previous search results, or the previous search filter, go to tags, and we're going to type in that incident number. We're going to add that to the search parameters bar. I don't need a time, I don't need anything else. I'm just going to pull my voice recordings that I need with my incident number. So what I've just done now is I've put all the recordings that I need on one page. From here, as you go through and you listen to the voice recordings, you have the ability to play them back and make sure that each section of the audio, and I'm looking at the waveform here, but each section of the audio is something that you need. As you begin to scroll through and listen to your voice recordings, you may determine, you know what, this voice recording here does not belong to my incident number. You can simply click right within the notes and remove that incident number. Then you can move to the next one and do the same thing. As you go through your voice recordings, you will determine whether or not you need voice recordings added or removed from your subpoena or FOIA request. By simply clicking on them, you also have the ability, when playing them back, to determine whether or not portions of the voice recording need to be there and other portions don't. Using your redaction tools, if you select the sections that you need and don't select the sections that you obviously don't want to include, you can keep just the highlighted sections in there by choosing the Save Highlights option. The Save Highlights option will ensure that only the highlighted sections will be included when you merge all of these voice recordings together. So by clicking through and listening to the sections of audio, you can determine, hey, I don't need the beginning of this section here. However, the very end of this I do need because it pertains to my incident. By simply clicking Save Highlights, the system remembers, hey, we only want to save the section that he has highlighted in this voice recording. When listening to the voice recordings, you can also go through and remove individual transmissions that don't correlate to the incident at hand. Now, you're going to repeat this process through all the radio transmissions, which is a bit tedious because you do have to listen to the full incident. I don't have a way around that, sorry. Now, as you're listening to the voice recordings, again, two tools that are going to be used are the cropping, which is done with the right click of your mouse, highlight, save highlights so that it remembers what is highlighted in there, and the other tool that is going to be used is the ability to remove the notes section by simply clicking within that notes column. Once you've gone through all of your voice recordings, you've listened to them, you have highlighted the correct sections that you want, you've chosen to save the highlights so that the system remembers, what you'll want to do is you'll want to regenerate your search. This way, it'll get rid of all of the ones that don't belong in there, and you have your incident from start to finish, from the beginning of my 911 call all the way up, or all the way down to the last radio transmission for my incident. Highlight them all by using the Shift key on your keyboard and use the right click menu to peruse the Save options. Now, the Save options, the one that we're looking for here, is the Save Calls Redacted and Merged. What this will do is this will take all of those voice recordings and it will save them in one individual file, but it will also remember the cropped selections, the redactions that I had in there. It will not remember them if I don't hit Save Highlights when I'm going through that. But we went through each voice recording and highlighted the sections we wanted and chose the Save Highlights. So when I choose this Save option, it gives me the ability to save all of my voice recordings into one file, and it looks like I have 43 individual voice recordings here that we're going to merge. And at this point, I would put my incident number on there one more time and go ahead and save it. I didn't see where I saved it. One sec here. There we go. My voice recording then saves to wherever you point it to. I actually just pointed it to my downloads folder, but you can also point it to your desktop, to a shared directory on your network, whatnot. Now, this voice recording saves in fully qualified PCM audio. I do suggest that one more time you go ahead and you listen to your audio file,
January
making sure that you have the correct timestamp at the beginning,
47, 53.
and also making sure that you've included each of the radio transmissions that you want. The way that I have mine
I have a public service.
set up is I want to hear the voice timestamp at the very beginning of the first message and then at the very end of the last message. This way it gives me the ability to start and kind of end it with the correct timestamp. Once you've gone through and listened to your voice recording and you know, hey, this is the voice recording that I want to go ahead and burn this to disk, you have a couple of options. Depending on whether or not you're on the computer that is going to be using it, you can just use Windows Media to drag your voice, or the Windows burning software to just drag the audio file right to the CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive and let it go, and it will say, okay, let's insert a blank writable disk so that we can go ahead and burn this disk. You'll want to burn an audio project when doing so. Now, say you just wanted to send this voice recording. Again, open up your email and attach your WAV file to that voice, or to your email, and send it to the desired recipient. So the things that we just covered here should help you isolate voice recordings using the crop and redact sections. You can go ahead and isolate sections of audio within a voice recording, and then using the save option where it remembers the redacted and merged sections will allow you to accumulate everything into one file and then save that voice recording so that you can burn it to disk or send it by email. And that should do it today for the FOIA or subpoena request overview.